56 from 4-1 because I think this is a really important problem because it tests your knowledge of how to take the derivative of everything using the chain rule, product rule, and the quotient rule, and all that jazz. So let's do number 56 together, and what we're going to do is for part A, we're going to take the derivative of the expression. So we're going to let y equals 2f of x, and what is then the derivative of this? Y prime is going to be 2 times f prime of x, right? And they want us to evaluate this when x equals 2. So we want y prime of 2, which is going to be 2 times f prime of 2. Now, do we have a table that tells us what f prime of 2 is? I'm sorry, it's what? 1/3. So we're going to plug in 1/3. So this is 2 times 1/3, which is 2/3. So y prime of 2 is equal to 2/3. All right, so that's part A. Part B says y equals, let's do f of x plus g of x. Well, what is the derivative of that? Y prime is going to be f prime of x plus g prime of x. And then I want y prime of, now they have x equals 3. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to find out on the table what f prime of 3 is and what g prime of 3 is, and you guys are going to tell me since I don't have the table in my eye view. F prime of 3 is?
2 pi plus 5.
This is 2 pi. And then g prime of 3 is 5?
Yep.
Plus 5. So that's nice, right? That's an easy situation. Part C is, let's say y equals f of x times g of x, right? What rule must I use here? Product rule. Good. All right, so it's going to be y prime is first, which is f of x times g prime of x plus g of x times f prime of x. Good. And then we want g prime of what in this case? G prime of 3. Y prime of 3, which is f of 3 times g prime of 3 plus g of 3 times f prime of 3. So you guys are going to have to read these off for me. F of 3
Is 3.
is 3.
Yes.
G prime of 3.
Negative 3.
Negative 3.
No, it's 5.
That's 5.
Numbers are hard.
Numbers are difficult, right? 5. Okay. Plus g of 3.
Negative 4.
Negative 4. And then f prime of 3? 2 pi. All right, so that's going to be 15 minus 8 pi. So that's y prime of 3. Okay, D is the quotient, and we want that evaluated at 2. So here we go. This is D. So we're going to let y equal f of x over g of x. And this is a quotient, so what rule do we have to use? Quotient rule. So this is going to be y prime equals O, which is g of x, d high, f prime of x minus f of x, g prime of x all over g of x squared, or ho-ho, right? So we want y prime of its 2, right?
You did say 2.
I did say 2? Okay,
Yes.
thank you. 2, my short-term memory. All right, this is going to be g of 2 times f prime of 2 minus f of 2 times g prime of 2 all over g of 2 quantity squared. Thank goodness for the bell because it allowed me to take a breath. Okay, g of 2 is 2. F prime of 2.
Third.
1/3 minus f of 2, 8 times g prime of 2, negative 3, all over g of 2 squared, which was 4, right? Okay, so this is going to be 2/3 minus, or plus all over 4. Now I would do this into thirds, right? 24 times 3. You're going to make me do it, right, in public here? 72?
Yes.
72. So that's going to be 72 thirds plus 2 thirds is 74 thirds times 1/4. 2, and that goes 37. 37 over 6. That's y prime of 2. All right, so that was using the quotient rule. D. E is the chain rule, right? The composite. That was D, now we're on E. E is, we'll let y equals f of g of x. Now we're going to take the derivative of that using the chain rule. So what's the derivative of that? It's going to be louder, so the whole world can hear us. F prime of g of x times g prime of x, and we're going to evaluate this one at 2, right, Ted?
Yes.
Y prime of 2. So this is f prime of g of 2 times g prime of 2. Well, okay, what is g of 2?
2.
So we want f prime of 2 times, what's g prime of 2?
Negative 3.
Negative 3. So now what is f prime of 2?
8.
8? 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. Was it 2?
Yes.
Okay, f.
It's f prime of 2 is 1/3.
All right, so we'll roll back the tape, theoretically. I'm sorry, so g of 2 is what?
G of 2 is 2,
So this is f prime of 2
which is 1/3.
times g prime of 2. And what's, you said f prime of 2 is?
1/3.
1/3, okay,
Negative
times?
3.
Negative 3?
Yes.
So this is negative 1. We're human. Okay, f, because this is going on YouTube. Square root of f of x. So we're going to say y equals the square root of f of x. What needs to be our first step here? Change it. Good. So it's going to be f of x to the 1/2. Good. Y prime's going to be power down. Function. Good. Lower the power 1 times f prime of x. Now we're going to put things where they belong, right? What belongs in the denominator?
2
Right, so 2 times
square root of f.
square root, good, of f of x. And f prime of x stays on top, right? So we're evaluating this one at 2. So I want y prime of 2. So f prime of 2, I think, is 1/3, right?
Yes.
I think I got that now. Okay, times over divided by f square root of f of 2. So we say that this is 1/3 over 2 times the square root of, well, what is f of 2? 8. So this is 1/3. Whoops. Try again. 1/3 over, this is 2 times 2 root 2, right? So this is going to be 1/3 times 1 over 4 root 2. So this is 1 over 12 root 2, and we're adults. We don't have to rationalize, right? Well, right, Mrs. Muller. You okay with that? Next one is G. What's G? g of x?
G2 of x.
1 over g, like this?
Yeah.
What does that mean, exponentially? That means I'm squaring g. So this is g of x to the negative 2, and we're evaluating it at? 3. Okay, remember that for later, for 3. Okay, so then y prime is? Negative 2. G of x minus 3 times g prime of x. What goes in the denominator? G of x quantity cubed, yes. And we're going to evaluate this at 3. So this is going to be y prime of 3, which will be negative 2 times g prime of 3 over g of 3 cubed. All right, so what's g prime of 3? 5. So this is negative 2 times 5 over, what's g of 3? Negative 4 cubed is negative 64, right? And so this is going to be 5 over 32. And then we have h, which is the winner. What's h? The square root? And we're evaluating it at? 2. Okay. What are we going to do first? Rewrite it. Good. Parentheses. So it'll be f of x squared plus g of x squared to the 1/2. So what are we going to do? Power down. Good. 1/2. Yep. F of x squared plus to the negative 1/2. Love it. Times. Times f prime of x. Good. We're going to use a chain rule on this, right? It's power down function low power 1 to the derivative of the inside. And so this one's going to be plus 2g of x times g prime of x. So, anybody see what can I get rid of the 2? This, and this can go bye-bye. What goes in the denominator now? Just this thing raised to the negative 1/2. So the square root of f of x quantity squared plus g of x quantity squared. And in the numerator I go f of x times f prime of x plus g of x times g prime of x. And I want to evaluate this at 2. So y prime of 2. May I skip the step where I'm plugging it in? What's f of 2? 8. F prime of 2. 1/3. I knew it. 1/3 plus g of x. G of 2. I'm sorry, is 2. G prime of 2. Negative 3. All over the square root of f of 2. That's 64, right? Plus g of 2? 2, so that's 4. All right, so what do we have up here? We have 8 over 3 minus 6 over the square root of 68. This is going to be 18/3, right? So it's negative 10/3 on top. Over, now, you can take a 4 under the square root. So this is going to be, if I recall, this is the square root of 4 times 17. Okay? So this can be, if you have this fraction here, the 3 can just be in the bottom. Did you know that? So this is negative 10 over 3 times 2, which is, well, I'll do it like this. So I can reduce this to 5. So this is negative 5 over 3 root 17. And I just leave it like that because we're adults and we don't have to rationalize. Alright, why do I like 56?
And literally everything.
It tests it tests the product, the quotient, the chain, power combined with the chain, it tests everything, so.
Can you go up?